Hello everybody, this is Kyrix with another episode of This Week in Kyrix. Today is Monday, February 22nd, 2021, recording for the week of Wednesday, February 24th, 2021. And it's actually been a little more eventful than usual. A lot of things have happened in the past couple days. I may have mentioned, I know I mentioned it, but I don't remember if it was in the update or my anniversary video, that I recently purchased a game called the Blackout Club because I saw Markiplier and friends playing it. And Blackout Club is a pretty fun game. It's not the most involved thing, but actually, let me rephrase that. It's not the most high-end game. It's very technically good. I haven't run into a bunch of dumbass glitches in it and shit like that. There's nothing in the game that makes me think, oh, they really skimped on resources here. Which is something I can actually say about this game. Parts of this game feel very unfinished. But Blackout Club is not that. Blackout Club has, apparently it's on a schedule now. It might not have been the way when before COVID wasn't a thing, but it is now, where the devs will actually interact in-game, in character, with the players. And what I mean is, I don't mean like, oh, they'll get on Twitter and talk with you. I mean, they are the voices in your head in the games. Like if you watch Markiplier and Bob and Wade play this game, you will see them actively fucking with them. Like they will mention them to an extent via their names, like they refer to Wade as the Little Minion because he's Lord Minion, etc. And it's very interesting, and that little feature is what drew me to the game, and I'm actually having fun with it now. I haven't been playing a lot, but I have been playing fairly consistently. But I got on the Discord to find groups because it's very much a group game, and I have been gaming with one of the people I met on there, both in that and in the Forest, and we have been playing the Forest pretty much every night. These are not recordings on the Forest. She hasn't been streaming, I haven't been recording it. It's just something we've been doing. And every now and then, since I'm the host, I'll just pop on and build a thing. Not like, oh, here's the foundation for the house kind of thing. Like, oh, I'm gonna put down a fireplace with 2 benches, or I'm gonna make an armor rack on the cliff or something like that. Just minor shit. Because her only request is, hey, just don't do story stuff without me. And I'm like, you don't know me. I'm content to sit here for the next 6 months doing nothing but chopping trees and building shit. But it's been fun. We've been having fun with that. Got some good banter going. We seem to get along well enough. Yesterday and today. I say that like, to me, they're not the same thing. It was in that morning block where you don't know what fucking day you're actually in. But, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. I have for a long time played Star Trek Attack Wing. This goes back all the way to before I moved into the apartment, when I was at the very tail ass end of living in the trailer. Back in the retirement park. And it's a little Star Trek miniatures game, and I really like it, but there are numerous things to keep me from actively playing it as much as I did. On the physical aspect, I just didn't have the money, and then when I did have the money, they stopped selling shit, and shit's been getting harder and harder to find. Like, even if I were to want to go back and buy everything, they've long since stopped making most of it, so supplies are limited. So I'm basically competing with every other Attack Wing player on the planet for these resources. And given that I have access and do most of my gaming via Tabletop Simulator, it honestly feels wrong for me to take these resources away from people who don't have that outlet, who only play in person. You know what I mean? On top of that, I only had one place to play, and I don't even know where they moved, because they moved like a year or two ago. Actually, they moved during COVID. I could find them if I so desired, but I don't really play any physical tabletop games right now. that would make that worthwhile. And the problem was our player pool there was very narrow, and this was pre-Walmart job, and at the very end, the very start of Walmart job, so I didn't really have the disposable funds to keep up with other people's collections. Not that my collection itself was really lacking or anything. It was very solid. I had pretty much everything I wanted, but anyway. So let's talk about the fact that we had a very schizophrenic, very... what's the word? Our player... Our campaign, our pool, our... fuck. Our venue, that's the word. Our venue had an identity crisis. Because on the one hand, the judge wanted us to play, like, legitimately. But he didn't want us to make really powerful teams. He wanted us to play casually and competitively, and you can't do both of those things. You either build the super meta asshole team that makes everyone hate you, or you build the team that's got a high likelihood of losing, but is still fun. You know. And, also, as someone who is trying to grow as a player, the problem is, all the feedback I would get would be backhanded compliments at best. Like, well, you like it, or oh, I guess you could win a couple things with it, or something like that. You know, it was not the reinforcement I, as a growing player, needed on how to build something. You know, and every time I got told like, oh, this won't work, I would win the tournament, or I'd at least hand that particular player their ass. You know, and it just got to the point where it wasn't worth it, especially since at the time, and it's probably the same now, it was a 45-minute bike ride away from me. So I would get off my ass once a month. This wasn't like HeroClix where we played every week. This is a monthly thing. Once a month, I would get off my ass, get on my bike, and pedal up there with whatever I had to bring. Or I would get on the bus, which cost money at the time because we weren't in free COVID days, and bring the makeup kit that I use as basically a gaming tackle box. And just be up there and wait for like 3 hours for someone to show up, and no one would show up, and I'd just go home. You know? 3 hours is an exaggeration. It'd be like an hour and a half most of the time. And I couldn't get anyone up there half the time. Like, half the time no one would show. Our player base kept dropping off. We only played once a month, and if no one showed up, we didn't reschedule it for the following week. So I would go 3 or 4 months without ever playing a game. And that's just not worth dumping money into, you know? That's a nice head you have on your shoulder. And that's on top of the fact that the game had effectively stagnated, and we were playing for store credit at a store where I didn't play anything but Attack Wing. You know what I mean? So yeah, and in person, not in person, on tabletop, it just... between the player base kind of drifting off to the point where you can't get a game very easily, and the fact that this laptop has started chugging a bit when it tries to run TTS, I basically have to shut off everything but Steam to make it work properly. It's just been a headache, and one I haven't wanted to go through for very much. I mean, if someone pops on like, hey, I want to play a game, I'm like, I can play a game. So anyway, I'm not very active, but I still have the Tabletop Simulator Discord, and it's not very active, but every now and then I'll pop on and read all the messages. And one of the guys was talking about, hey, we've got a league on this other Discord channel, because TTS Discord, I say TTS, it's the Attack Wing TTS Discord. There are probably thousands of TTS Discords. This was the official one for the Star Trek Attack Wing Tabletop Simulator mod, because it was made by the guy. And I'm going to say partner with other TTS, or with other Discords that deal with Attack Wing, you know, to do regional shit. Not regional, but I mean, like, we played with a group in Portland. They invited us to one of their things. I did okay. And this was just, hey, we're having a league. And I'm like, oh, I would, but I don't know, I don't have a team ready, and I haven't played in forever, so I'm really rusty. And the guy's like, well, no worries, you don't need teams for another week. You know, the deadline is a week from now, and we have the lower decks section, which is actually what I'm in. They have in regions, and I disagree with these because it's lower decks, DS9, TNG, TOS, and that's from lowest to worst. And I'm like, really? You're gonna put DS9 at the lowest non-kiddie tier? When not only was it one of the better series, but it was also the most technically advanced of the 3 series. It just seems weird to me. But then again, Lower Decks is also the newest and most technically advanced, having happened after Nemesis, which was the end of the, let's call it Picard era timeline. Or, no, the TNG timeline. Anyway. So, basically we have 7 players in the Lower Decks, and there's like 4 in each of the other ones, and it's like the lowest player D ranks, the highest player ranks up, etc. And in Lower Decks, there are 7 of us, so 4 of us are going to play round robin, and my first match was last night. And there were differences in this team build. A, we had to play 100 points as opposed to the usual 130. Thankfully, we are not minimum 3 ships, because normally the rule is 120 to 130, minimum 3 ships. Well, maximum ship build is 50. At 100 points, you can make 2 50-point ships. But if one of those if there's 3 ships, you got to divide 100 points between 3 ships. It's not going to go well. There's no minimum ships. There were restrictions for the league, like fighters are banned, which I'm absolutely okay with, because fighters have never been balanced well, either for Star Trek lore or for this game. There are so many changes that need to be made to fighters before they can really be reintroduced to the game. Large ships are banned, so no Xindi weapon, no Borg cube, no Terok Nor, and no generics of them either, so no, Weapon 0 was a Xindi weapon, so no generic Xindi weapon, no generic Borg cube, no generic Nor class station, which is fine. I'm really the only person who actively uses Deep Space Nine anyway, and it wouldn't go well in this build. The thing that hurts, though, is there's a restricted pool where you can only have 2 of each of these cards, or 2 period of these cards, not 2 of each, but 2 cards from restricted period, whether they're different cards or the same card doubled. And several of my favorite cards in there, like Quark and Sakona, Quark being a Ferengi who can smuggle a higher costed weapon or tech that is outside of the normal deployment onto his ship. So, I think Quark's like 2 or 3 points, and with Lurin I can pay a point less, and he can put up to a 5-point thing on the ship. Sakona is an independent, which also works with Ferengi, who basically adds weapon slots and reduces the cost of every weapon on the ship by 1. So when you use her with, say, Ferengi torpedoes on a Ferengi ship, with Lurin, they're free. You know, she's very useful, very broken. And then you have Ferengi torpedoes and Kamosite, which are just, if you've ever heard me talk about Attack Wing, you know how overpowered both of those cards are, especially for 2-point cards. So I'm allowed 2 of those, so my build is, I can announce it now, because my build is public knowledge anyway. I went with the current active variant of my NX class, which is the NX Enterprise NX-01 with animated series Captain Kirk. His power is give him an action, and he will put either a battle stations or a scan token on him, on your ship, and then you can activate 1 crew as a free action. The NX comes with enhanced hull plating as a free item. It's a technology. What it does is, if you take a hit, you can give yourself an auxiliary token up to twice per turn, and each auxiliary token you take counts as an evade to just cancel out 1 damage. Other tech on there is Exocomp. Put 2 time tokens on it at the start of the activation phase, repair 1 damage of your choice. Simple shit. It's just a self-heal. The weapons on there, I put Arsenal, which gives you 2 weapon slots, and says that anytime you would put time tokens on one of your weapons, take one of those time tokens and put it on Arsenal instead. So it reloads a turn faster than it normally would. Other weapon on there is Improved Phasers, which is a 4 dice attack. Put 2 time tokens on it, counts as a primary weapon. So Basically, with it and Arsenal, they each put one on and they clear every turn. So I can shoot every turn at 4 dice, which is double what it normally has. Crew member, Montgomery Scott, give yourself another tech slot. That's where the exocomp comes in. Anytime you would take an auxiliary token, disable him to not take the token. Maress, from the animated series, her power is if a battle station is put on the ship, she can immediately remove a disable token from another crew member. Her job is basically... The cycle is, you hit me, I shrug off a hit by taking an aux, disable Scotty, and if I have to, I can actually aux the ship. Take a green maneuver to remove the set aux. Give Kirk an action to give a battle stations, which gives Maress her ability to clear Scotty. And Kirk's action is used on Sulu, my other crew member, well, one of 2 crew members, to up my agility by 2 and allow me to automatically convert 1 battle station's evade, or 1 green battle stations into an evade. And last one's Riker, roll an extra die, convert just like Sulu. And the second ship's a lot less complicated. It is the Scimitar, with Lurin and 2 Ferengi torpedoes using the resource high-yield photons. High-yield photons basically adds an extra die to your torpedo attacks, meaning the Scimitar is hitting for 7 dice. And it also says, reroll 1 blank with every torpedo you fire. Simple shit. Last night, I had my first of my 3 rounds, and it was a match, and I even told the guy at the end of it that your team is one of those that I looked at. I saw this build, I'm like, okay, this is a match I'm losing. One moment here. Roommate was asking me if I had a 2-liter Coca-Cola, but I only had the 1. Anyway, I looked at this match, and I'm looking at this build, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not winning this fight. He had 2 Kelvin-class Constitution-class, Kelvin-era Constitution-class starships from the movies, which are absurdly overgunned. They have, like, 4 attack dice, 6 fucking hull, which is more than almost any other Federation ship in the game, possibly more than any other Federation ship in the game. That is on par with a Romulan ship. Shit, 6 hull is almost what the Scimitar has, and it has one of the highest non-Borg hull in the game. And it's got like 3 shields, it does 4 dice, but it's only got 1 evade. So he had 2 of those, and he had a Romulan science vessel, which is just notoriously cheap and hard to hit. It basically, its job is to stay the whole game cloaked with Captain Dinatra, who basically adds extra attack dice to every ship within 1 of her. And so Dinatra is one of those things where you can expend resources to kill her, but if you don't... If you do, you're wasting resources, because it only takes 2 dice of damage to hurt her, to kill her. But if you don't, she's going to be a menace throughout the entire game. But what sealed the deal for me is his other restricted character was Nanklis. And what he does is you discard him, and he picks 1 ship, and that ship can't roll defense dice. Well, my entire fleet relies on defense dice or I blow up. Like, you can one-shot the NX if I can't roll dice. And you can 2-shot the Scimitar if I can't roll dice, and he would have. So, due to some clever plotting on my part, I took out Dinatra in the 2nd round, which is the first combat round. Because while it is possible to attack in the first round, nobody ever does, because you have to build with that in mind, and it's a pain in the ass. But after that, and we both agreed that the battle was won in the 2nd round, but long story short, I won the fight. And part of it was the fact that I one-shotted Dinatra and took a huge chunk out of his offense because he couldn't get that extra die every turn per ship that Dinatra was giving him, and he couldn't cripple my defense. And the other thing is, due to a fluke, because it sure wasn't intentional on my part, the Scimitar was consistently half an inch out of his firing arcs, or I was too close to hit with torpedoes, or something like that. He only had 2 solid hits the entire game, 1 on the NX, which by the end of the game I'd healed all that damage, and 1 on the Scimitar. The Scimitar took a substantial hit, 4 out of its 7 hull. but not enough to seal the deal. And long story short, I won that match, and I don't know how. But it was a really good match. I had to pull out some really clever tricks. And he even pulled out a clever trick of his own, basically making me blow my second Latinum where I didn't want to. Because Latinum allows me to buy a battle stations, which improves my hitting and defensive odds, which is what I wanted to do with it. But he basically made it so that I had the option of either keeping the scimitar out of action for an entire turn, or using my Latinum to get it into action that turn, and that's what I did. So it was a clever move. It didn't help him in the end, but it did delay his defeat. We had an hour-long timer, and I think there was 10 minutes left by the end of the match. So we took each other to the limit. It was a good fight. In the end, I swept him. He didn't get any kills, and I took out all 3 of his ships. But it was a hell of a match, and I didn't think that I'm the better player for that win. I do not fucking know how I won that match. I mean, I know because I watched it happen, but I don't know, you know. It does basically give me a little bit of hope that I can win some of my other matches. I did tell him, though, that the good news is I don't have to worry about rust, because for better or worse, I'm as good as I ever was. That's not to say that I'm great, but I'm no better or worse than I was before. So, rust is not going to be a factor in these last few matches. These last 3 matches of mine. On that note, matches we shouldn't have won. I did a round of Dead by Daylight this morning. And 2 rounds, actually. One of them not so much as the other. I was playing Freddy, and I was in the meatpacking plant, which is a really good map for Freddy because it's got 2 floors, but Freddy can teleport, so I don't have to look for stairs. And I feel bad for the person playing Cheryl, because she got taken out really early because I kept running into her, you know? And I gave her a shot. At one point, I found her on what would have been her 3rd hook, which was the dead hook, knocked her down, and just left her to chase someone else. And the only reason I hit her is because she happened to run right in front of me as I was chasing someone. So I took the swing and went back to my chase. So I'm like, okay, Cheryl, here's your chance. Pick yourself up. Get going. You know, because there was all 4 players were still in the match. One of her friends could have found her, gotten her back up. Not a big deal. Which happened. And then, of course, I downed a person, ran into her. That was her dead hook, etc. Got a second person on their dead hook. Found a 3rd person, hooked them, and I'm thinking, oh god, I don't know where this 4th person is. And I'm sitting here trying to find like which generator I'm going to, and I happen to, because I'm looking up at the generators because they're on the upper floors. And then I look down, I realize the person is literally walking in front of me, so I catch him, hook him, that's game. I thought for sure they were going to get Hatch, because they... Oh, Jesus Christ. They had me down to the last gen. We were on the last gen. They were about to escape. You know, I thought for sure I didn't have that, and then at the very last second I pulled it around. Now, speaking of last second saves, I did a Survivor round next, because I try and do both each day for extra XP. Doing a Survivor match, I'm playing Nia like I usually do. I leveled up Jake for a little while to get Iron Will, and I have it now, so I'm back to Nia. And we're up against this nurse, and I'm in the upper ranks. That is to say, the lower ranks rather. High number, low quality is what I'm saying. I'm at rank 17 out of 20, with lower ranks being more desirable. So I'm not getting the cream of the crop on survivors or killers. And this nurse is hard to play anyway. And this nurse is not a good nurse, and I'm not cracking on her. I can't play nurse either, so I'm not talking to you can't even play nurse. No, if you can't play Freddy, there's a problem. If you can't play nurse, that's entirely understandable. But yeah, this nurse is not doing good, making some rookie-ass mistakes, like not kicking the gens as much as they should, not searching the area as thoroughly as they should either. But nurse hooked someone, they died almost immediately. Hooked a second person, they died almost immediately. We've got 4 gens to do, and I'm like, well, we're fucked. because the nurseman was in the middle of a chase. I saw them hit the second or the last remaining person besides myself, and I'm thinking, okay, my only hope here is that this person dies and I get the hatch. We're not going to win this. We're not winning this. We have no business winning this. We have to get 4 gens with 2 people. It's not going to fucking happen. And this is a nurse. For those who don't know why nurse is so bad, nurse can teleport. I don't mean like Freddy, where Freddy can teleport to generators. Nurse can line of sight teleport. So she can catch your ass in a matter of seconds. If you're playing a good nurse, you will not win. A good nurse will catch you. You know, seeing a good nurse player in a high rank match is a death sentence. You are going to lose unless you are cream of the crop players. And from what I hear from a lot of the not quite pros, but the big time DVD players that I watch on YouTube, good survivors are not a matter of being good at looping or juking. It's not even a matter of having good perks. It's a matter of efficiency on the gens. So even if you're one of the best survivors, you might not be able to shake a nurse because you're just good at doing gens fast. And anyway, this nurse is on us, and the person gets hooked, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to even stand a chance of winning this if I'm alone and I'm the only person she has to chase. Because if I'm the only person she has to chase, I will not shake her, because if she loses me, she will hunt for me. It's not like, okay, let me go find one of the other 3 guys. It's, there's only one guy, I gotta get him, you know? And if she happens to find the hatch and closes it in my face, then I have to get to a door, and there's only 2 doors. So she's got a 50-50 chance of finding my ass. Anyway, I go to unhook them, I unhook them, and we just split up, because you don't want to catch us together. So I just start doing gens like crazy while the other person's getting chased. That being said, every time I screw up a gen, that nurse beelines it for my ass. So, but by hook or by crook, we get all 4 remaining gens done. And at one point, or 2 points, the nurse stumbled across where I was working on my last gen. And I had enough warning from the terror radius that I got into a locker both times. Nurse patrolled a couple times, didn't kick the gen the first time, did the second time. But at no point did the nurse look thoroughly, nor did the nurse check the locker that I was obviously hiding in. So the other person popped the gen, she went off to find that person, I went over to the door that was right behind me, got it to like 99% and then hid in a locker, my plan being I was going to wait until endgame collapse started, meaning that my friend had opened the other door. Once they were safe, I was going to hit my door and go. Well, the nurse walked over to my door while I was hiding in the locker, hit the switch, and the other person basically finished their door, because I guess they were waiting for the same thing I was. So as soon as I see them escape, I run past the nurse and get out. Nurse didn't even see me. So we took a match that we had no business winning and absolutely floored it. And I actually got an achievement for that because we were on a map. I don't remember what the map was, but there was an achievement for get this generator and escape, and I actually had that in another indoor map where you get the one that's in the bathroom and get out. And the bathroom one's a big deal because there's only one way in or out, and if the killer stands there, you can't get past them. So getting caught in the bathroom is a death sentence, but I did that gen on a different map. So that's Kyrix's ordeal of winning games he shouldn't have won. 3 games in 24 fucking hours. Who'd have thought? February has actually been a very good month for me. I still actually have food stamps. Normally mine are gone like by the 2nd week of the month, but because I actually had real money and was able to supplement my food with that and some careful management of what I'm eating, I actually have resources. I have food. I basically got to make it till Wednesday. I got to make it till this Thursday before I have money to eat again. And next Thursday I get my stamps again. So I'm really sitting in a good place financially. I still got to get a hold of somebody to get me to the vet and then make the appointment for said vet. But everything's going pretty good right now. I have more work to do on Final Fantasy VII. I have more work to do on Neverwinter Nights. I haven't really done anything on either of them for 2 days. I've been playing Blackout Club and Forest during the hours I would normally record, which isn't bad. I've been playing a lot of Civ 6, because with my last check, I got the Civ 6 upgrades. I've been playing with Mongolians and playing with the new features and whatnot. It's been a lot of fun. I actually won via diplomatic victory because I've started making trade empires a thing. So I basically owned... I was making like 600 gold a turn. So basically all I had to do was wait a turn and I could buy whatever I damn well pleased. And I had optimized myself towards getting envoys for the city-states, so I owned every city-state in the game. And being in charge of a city-state gives you diplomatic favor, so every time the World Congress came up, I could just chunk points into whatever I wanted to happen, so I always got my way. Every time you get your way on one of the votes in the World Congress, you get diplomatic victory points, including voting for yourself to get more points, which I did consistently. So yeah, it was basically a no-brainer that I was going to win that. Because even if everyone, the three remaining civilizations, well, the three other civilizations had united against me, they didn't have the votes that I did. I had enough votes to carry it by myself. You know, I literally had a rubber stamp for anything I wanted to have happen. So yeah, the plan, which has been the plan for the past 3 days, I don't see why today would be any different. The plan is to get on Final Fantasy VII, get more of that done, because I'm in Chapter 8 of 18. I don't have a long way to go. The plan is to chunk through 7 Remake, grind up to level 50, and erase that fucking game so I have room to do other things. I'm thinking this next paycheck I'm going to try and get a external hard drive for the PS4, if they have it. Or just... I need an external, period. But I want to get one for the PS4 to potentially put like my other games on and shit. Because this is getting ridiculous. Because Final Fantasy and Ark are both like 100 gigabyte games. That is a tenth of my hard drive. And that's just unacceptable. I'm sorry I keep coughing into the mic. I don't think I drank enough today. But I want to get some external hard drives because I need them. I'm gonna get some more KFC. I need some chicken. Like I said, I want to get 7 out of the way. I want to grind up to max that out so that when the sequel comes out, I can just pop it in and I don't have any. I'm caught up to where I want to be. Then I gotta get Neverwinter Nights out of the way. I gotta get Kingdom Hearts, or at least Birth by Sleep. At least let me finish Birth by Sleep, and then I can take a hiatus for a little bit. And then I can work on some other projects. I gotta get with Robert soon and do some stuff. We gotta finish our round of Death Road to Canada. I want to finish Overcooked 2 with him. I want to start A Way Out, or either with him or with my friend Reaper. Or somebody. I want to get somebody to play that fucking game with. You know, because there's lots of people that I really want to see do playthroughs of it. Like the Hololive girls have done it. Several variations, actually. Like I think Gura and Amelia did it. I know at V Shoujo, Yanners and Iron Mouse did it, and that's a combo I want to see game together. I think Zentrea and Fruit also played it. But there's people playing it. And I want to go in blind because I don't want to be the guy who knows what's going on. So, yeah, it's just... I got shit to do. But yeah, I've got a lot going on. The stimulus should be coming soon. With the stimulus, I'll be getting my new mattress and my new chair, which are both a very big deal for me. I got to get my friend over here with his truck because... this mattress will not stay in this house. It is just garbage. It was on its way out when I got it, and I got it like 4 or 5 years ago, so that ought to tell you everything. But I want my new memory foam mattress that I can lay on and be comfortable all the time. My goal is to just hit this thing and fall right the fuck asleep. I don't care if I lose 10 hours of my day when I lay on this thing. I just want to pass out. I just want... I want a bed that I picked out that's just high-end for me. Just the kind of splurging that I don't normally do for myself. Because seriously, I don't spend a lot of money on myself in that regard. Like, I'll buy a console or a computer or something. But that's something that will provide constant entertainment and things. Like, I can play 1,000 different things on my computer or my PlayStation, you know. And even then, that's a rare purchase for me to make. It's one that I've only made a handful of times since moving in here. Like, I bought the Switch, I bought a PS4, I bought 2 or 3 different laptops because they've all broken. And that's it. That's all of the big electronics purchases I've made. And 3 of those didn't happen until I got a job. So for a 4-year period, I wasn't buying shit like that, you know? So, I mean, I don't, as a rule, buy furniture at all. Generally, what happens is I'm like, hey, my chair broke, and roommate's like, well, we got one at work we're going to throw out, so I'll bring it home, you know? So I just want new things every now and then. I don't spoil myself as often as I probably should. And I'm going to try and make a point of doing that with my taxes and my stimulus coming in. Taxes are definitely going to go towards a computer. Because I need a good computer. I need a powerful ass, preferably laptop, but desktop if I can't avoid it, that I can just game on. I just want to do gaming stuff on it. I want to have a gaming laptop. And I might buy a smaller laptop to just surf the web on. Like, I want a laptop that only exists for gaming, that I'm not, like, going on YouTube and watching 800 videos on, or, you know, like, going on... I have a website where I do logic puzzles every now and then, because it entertains me. Basically, I want a website where... Well, not a website. I want a computer where I never go on the internet, really. Where it's just like, oh, I go on Steam... I might go to YouTube to upload, or I might transfer them to another computer to do that, where it's got a big-ass hard drive to store all my games and videos. That's what I want. I want one that's like that, and one that's just, hey, this is me surfing the web. This is my recreational, you know, chat on Discord computer kind of thing. And, because I found that when I combine the two things, it just makes a mess of everything. But I want to be able to play Cooking Simulator. Is that so much to ask? Really, that's it. I just want to play Cooking Simulator and a couple other games that I own. I own so many fun games that I can't play. I own Raft. I would love to play Raft. I can't play Raft. It's too much for my computer to handle. Cooking Simulator, can't handle it. Fucking... Oh, man. I own so many fun little games that I do not get to play. I own the entire original Tomb Raider series, but I won't play it until I get a computer powerful enough to run the program and record it at the same time, because I want to record Tomb Raider. On that note, I gotta get back to Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I think that's the third one. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I've got the whole Legacy of Kain series that I could be recording, and I'm just not. You know, I have a ton of good games on the computer that I could record right now if I just had a computer powerful enough to run both things. And I mean, I'm willing to get to the point where I will, because I have the money at the moment, where I'm just like, hey, if you want a game with me, I will buy you this game to do these recordings with me, kind of thing. I just gotta find friends who are willing to do those games. Because Eisen's group, we tried D&D, and that was just a clusterfuck. There's a reason we only beat Baldur's Gate 1, and even that was heavily cheat-laden. Which wasn't my vote, by the way. That was Eisen's thing, but it was his game, so it doesn't much matter. But I intend to do all of Baldur's Gate 1, Siege of Dragonspear, and Baldur's Gate 2, and, you know, the whole thing, start to finish, that whole saga. I plan to buy and then later play Baldur's Gate 3. Later play? Really? What, am I going to buy the game and play it 6 months? No. I plan to buy and later record Baldur's Gate 3. I'm gonna play it when I fucking get it. You know, stuff like that. I wanna do stuff. As soon as I get the money, probably next month. Well, no, not next month. Well, maybe next month, but not like first paycheck next month. I'm gonna have to get that PlayStation VR, because I've got projects that I really want to do with the PlayStation VR that I need to get out of the way. Like, I want to finish Resident Evil 7 and just have it out of the way. I want to do the other Until Dawn game. I want to do the Iron Man game that it comes with. I want to play... I don't even remember, but I want to play some games in VR. You know, there's some VR games I really want to play. Also, I'm going to be getting a computer VR so that I can play Cooking Simulator, because it's a keyboard mouse game and I don't want keyboard and mouse. I wish more of the simulator games were for the PlayStation 4, because I would totally get like Firefighter Simulator, I'd get Cooking Simulator. I'd get the shit out of Cooking Simulator. I actually own all of the expansions for Cooking Simulator. I bought it as one big chunk while it was all on sale. So you'll see me do eventually, like, if I decide to play it for my channel, which I might. I really bought it for recreational purposes, but I might do it as, you know, next year's This Week in Kyrix, for all I know. But yeah, it's, quit growling.
That's a nice head you have on your shoulder.
But yeah, I might do it for This Week in Kyrix. I might do it as a project. I might just play it to fucking play it, you know? Yeah, I mean, let's look at all these games I have on here that I can't really play right now. Like, I can't record Chrono Trigger. I have it. I could record it if I had the power, but I can't do it. Cooking Simulator I mentioned. All of the Final Fantasies from 3 to 6, which I played to an extent all of them for my channel. I need to finish 3. Freedom Force. I'd love to do Freedom Force, but I have to get the upgrades for it, the updates, to make the controls work. Helltaker's one I wanted to try. Legacy of Kain, Tomb Raider. Pizza Titan Ultra, which is a game John played, Proton John played ages ago. Raft. Civ 5 and 6, and Pirates, which I can play them, but they kind of lag a bit. And Starships. Empire at War. Rebellion. Well, Rebellion I can play. You know, there's lots of tabletop sim games, which when I get the VR, I can do a lot more on tabletop sim with that. You know. I'd love to get a group together to play Viscera Cleanup Detail with. Not necessarily for my channel, just kind of fun, you know, just kind of, hey, let's get together and mop up our facility, you know. I think that would be fun. But then again, I'm a weird guy, so. I went over this before, but I just love the fact that games like Viscera Cleanup Detail and Harvest Moon and Cooking Simulator exist. I love that those are games, because when I was a kid and Harvest Moon first showed up in the pages of Nintendo Power, it didn't seem like the sort of thing that would work. I mean, video games are about adventure and saving the princess and fighting monsters and shit. Why would you play a video game to farm? But, you know, you had games like Sim Earth and Sim Ant, Pilot Wings, you know. I'm really glad that video games cover the niches they do, that they're just... You just have all these options. It's really nice. And I just do not understand the people who don't see video games as an artistic expression. Like, oh, they're not the same as movies. I'm like, no, they're better. Because I'm sorry, I can watch Jurassic Park 1,000 times, and I have. But it's always going to end the same way. You know, Muldoon's never going to bring his shotgun up fast enough to make it to the credits. Nedry's never going to make it to the dock. You know, Ray Arnold is never going to get the power on. No matter how many times I watch it, that's the case. But in the games, who can say? You know. So that's the beauty of video games, especially if they're video games with other people. You know. But yeah, backtracking. My forest playthrough is going a lot better. We have a decent setup. We have it on a cliff, so we have a 2-tiered structure. The bottom tier is mostly supplies and a defensive wall to keep out the mutants, which now they started showing up on the upper tier, like I was afraid they would. But then on the upper tier, we're gonna have our actual house and structure and shit. But like on the lower tier, we've built a small farm. We have a campfire. We have 2 water collectors downstairs, 1 upstairs. You know, upstairs I've got 3 armor racks with 2 full sets of armor and 1 partial set. A full set of bone armor, a full set of creepy armor, and a partial set of stealth armor. I need to kill more lizards is what it amounts to. And more food than we know what to fucking do with. She's put up like 6 drying racks, and each one of them is loaded with meat because the area we spawned in with is infested with deer, rabbits, and squirrels. Like, literally every time I turn around, there's 2 deer just looking at me, and I mean that literally. Like, I'll be walking somewhere, turn around, and there's a deer staring me right in the face, and they're so plentiful that I just catch them with my axe. I'll just run up, corner them in a wall, axe them to death, so so I have a skin rack that is full of deer skins upstairs, and she's got, she built some rabbit traps, and I built the cage, and we have a full cage, like, cannot hold more bunnies, full cage. So we have a limitless supply of rabbits at the moment, so if we ever need rabbit meat or rabbit fur, just pull one out and, you know. So it's pretty useful in that regard. So we have renewable resources. We do not have to worry about food or water now. Plus, you know, deer. So even if we don't ever hunt another wild animal, we have enough rabbits to hold us for a while. We've got blueberries growing in. We've got 3 different sources of water for rain collectors. We have a pot to boil water from a lake. She's got a fishing pond. We're set. You know, it's just it's all over but the actual building, if you know what I mean. Like probably tonight, because we've been playing consistently daily, I'm gonna get started on the house foundation and the rear wall, because we're gonna need to wall in the upper half, because the really big nasty mutants have been showing up there now. So it's just a matter of me finding a good area to set up a house, setting up the foundation for it, and then we'll go from there. You know. And we might actually relocate things to an extent where, like, up top it's all spread out. Like, she's got drying racks here and here and here. But we might opt for something a little more, what's the word? Doable, for lack of a better word. Where we'll just, like, have a, like a patio for the water and shit. But anyway, that's enough. I've rambled on. This was an easy one to do, mostly because of the League match and Dead by Daylight being such a thing this week. Hopefully I'll have more news on League by this week in Kyrix. Hopefully I'll have news that I've moved on to the DS9 League, actually, from lower decks, meaning that I won enough of my matches to qualify. I don't even know if we're playing for anything tangible of any kind. It's just, hey, you want to play Star Trek? Sure. I literally have no idea what this is about other than just bragging rights and social status. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with playing for status. You know, there's nothing wrong with just letting people know you're good. I don't think I'll ever be a top-tier attack wing player. I just don't have that mindset. But I'm more than content to be a good attack wing player. And sometimes you just gotta find those little wins. Just put that little mark in your win column. Take it for what it is. But anyway, here's hoping that pretty soon I'll get to one of the water parks, because they should be opening Adventure Island soon, and I have money so I could go to Aquatica. It's just a matter of physically going there. I'm trying to talk out the clock so you don't have like a solid minute of dead air. But yeah, last week's This Week in Kyrix went up a little late. I think it went up like 2 a.m. on Thursday or some shit. I'll try to get this one up on time. I've been pretty good at that, at least. I haven't been good at a lot of things, but I've been good at keeping that up to date. I need to start. I need to start taking like Final Fantasy and whatnot off of this console and onto the other things so that they're in place. You know. Shush, Maya. It's fine. Yeah, basically I need to preload them on YouTube so that when the time comes I can just set the date for them and they're good to go. And anyway, that's all for me. Bye-bye, everybody.